All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Star Wars Mark of Balance. My name is Mark, and today I'm excited to give you guys my quick review of the newest season of LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past. This is the second season to the surprise hit LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy that came out last year. I absolutely adored the series. It was simple, it was fun, and most importantly, it celebrated Star Wars across all of its eras. Well, not all of them. The sequel trilogy caught a couple strays, and that trend continued with the second season. But overall, LEGO continues to be a medium of storytelling for Star Wars that, no pun intended, connects the galaxy so well. And I think Rebuild the Galaxy is the most ambitious with the amount of characters, deep cuts, and references that they fit into one piece of media. In this season, we see Darth Revan, we see a dark Obi-Wan, we see all the Skywalkers brought together for the first time ever. We see light side Palpatine, we see a singing Darth Maul, we see Darth Jar Jar, and so many more hilarious and creative twists on the classic Star Wars story and characters we know. I'm going to be light on spoilers for this review because I do want people to watch this show, both season 1 and season 2, because I think it is such a great time in the Star Wars galaxy when a lot of Star Wars content right now feels a bit soulless or it feels like it's made for the wrong reasons. Rebuild the Galaxy is made for all the right reasons. And also, there's so many hilarious jokes and deep cut references in this season that I don't want to spoil them here. I want you guys to experience them firsthand. This season picks up right after season 1 with Sig learning more about his Force abilities from Jedi Master Bob, and the alternate version of his brother, Darth Dev, is still out in the galaxy trying to find himself and also increase his own Force abilities on the dark side. This season introduces a brand new villain, a fallen Jedi named Solitus, who has mysterious Force powers and can access a whole different dimension of the Force. And that plays a big role in the plot of this season and is also connected to one of my main criticisms of the season, but it didn't ruin my enjoyment at all, and I think it did feed into the themes that they tried to build out by the end of the season, mostly the connection between the light and the dark side of the Force needing to come together and live in harmony. As with every LEGO piece of media, the humor and the jokes are top tier. They're meta, they're sarcastic, they're self-aware, and they reference so many specific little lines throughout the entire Skywalker saga. It just makes you smile and realize that there are so many loving Star Wars fans behind this project, because you can't simply just make some of these references. You have to be someone who has seen the animated shows a million times, who's played all of the video games like Knights of the Old Republic, or who can recite every single line from Revenge of the Sith. It just can't be faked. For example, the season opens with Darth Dev arriving on a planet and being ambushed by Day Sisters, led by Asajj Ventress. Something that's so stupid, but also so funny. Or Darth Maul singing a Christmas Carol type tune to the theme Duel of the Fates. To Sig referencing Grogu as Baby Yoda inside the Star Wars universe. Something that we as a society just called him Baby Yoda because we didn't know his name and he looks like a baby version of Yoda. But to see it in the Star Wars galaxy is simple, but also very self-aware. And Grogu is working with the Landalorian. Lando instead of Mando. And finally, the best comedic sequence in the entire show is when they come across Padme's pirate gang. Padme Amidala is a pirate leader, and her sidekicks are C-3PO with a pirate accent and R2-D2. Yes, exactly. It's hilarious. But it also gives us this opportunity for Darth Vader, a light side version, Luke, Leia, who is married to Greedo in this galaxy, and Pirate Lord Padme to all be on screen together at the same time. And seeing Darth Vader try to talk to Luke and Padme about him messing up his relationship with Padme, and then that awkward interaction between them, referencing all of these lines from Revenge of the Sith, like, now that's a path I can follow, or something like that. It just needs to be experienced by all of you who love Star Wars as much as me. That was just a taste of a bunch of the references and jokes throughout this season, but I promise you there's so many more. Keep an eye out for little mini kits from the Lego games. They're hidden throughout the episodes. I caught them a couple times. Really cool, fun little Easter egg and rewards rewatches, similar to replays of the game. As I mentioned in the intro, this is a celebration of all Star Wars eras, but there is an acknowledgement that the sequel era was not the strongest. There's one particular dig that I thought was hilarious, and I do want to call out here. There's a Sarlacc pit sequence, and there's not a Sarlacc in the pit. It's just a bunch of zombie Snokes, and they're like, "Where'd you get all these?" And someone says, "Oh, they were just discarded. There was just a pile of them." And they're like, "Who even is that? Who even is Snoke?" And they're like, it doesn't really matter anyway. And that's just like, yeah, that's kind of what we all said when we watched the sequels, especially Rise of Skywalker. My main criticism for the second season of Rebuild the Galaxy is the overt inclusion of product placement. Now, this is a Star Wars Lego property. It's inevitable that there's going to be product placement throughout the show. They did it in season 1. However, in season 1, the product placement was naturally weaved into the story. In season 1, we had the dark side version of the Millennium Falcon, but that was the main transport that moved around the group of Sith that were pursuing Sig and Jedi Bob. It also fed into the overall concept of the season, which was the switched up versions of classic iconic Star Wars ships and characters. In season 2, the product placement doesn't feed into the story, and actually some of the sequences just feel off, and it feels like the only reason the sequence is in the show is to promote a product. This is especially true in the first episode of the season, where an entire scene takes place within the Death Star. And it's not just any Death Star, it's within the new, horrible-looking UCS Death Star set that costs $1,000. Even if you don't keep up with LEGO set releases, I'm sure you've seen screenshots of the horrible cut-in-half Death Star that was just released with a incomplete backside and just little compartments of different scenes throughout Star Wars that is going for $1,000. People have been ripping it, rightfully so, and it takes up a whole portion of the first episode of the season. And the main reason I hate it is not just because the set and the pricing is terrible, but because the sequence doesn't make sense within the bounds of the world that they created. The Death Star is still the Death Star. If they were following the rules of Rebuild the Galaxy, the Death Star would have been a completely different color or shape or something along the lines to switch it up. But here it's just the Death Star. And that's because they want to show off their new terrible Death Star set and try to convince people to spend $1,000 on it. They try to sidestep this by calling it the Battle Ball and making a meta joke about that, but really, this all just felt super corporate and like an executive made this decision to put it in the show, and I don't blame anyone working on the show. They did a really creative job of animating the new set and trying to make it fun and interesting, but I'm sure that they wanted to do something different and were forced to put it in the show. The other product placement that I think was more well integrated into the story and the themes of this season were the brick heads, especially around Ahsoka's character. I much rather would have seen the regular Ahsoka minifigure, but they decided to put in these really weird brick head versions of different characters like Ahsoka and the Rebels crew. And I don't know how the brick heads are selling. I think they look pretty bad. I don't like them, but I guess they kind of look like Funko Pops to a degree, so people might be drawn to that. But to me, I would have rather just seen regular Ahsoka in Lego form. Her inclusion really ties into the theme that everyone's different and you need to find your people and it's okay to be different. And that's a nice message to send to kids, but it also felt a bit more on the product placement side of things, especially because Ashley Eckstein came back to voice her. So it would have been really cool to just see her in a minifigure form and not a brickhead form. There's also these new Bionicle type sets within LEGO of characters like Chewbacca and K2SO that are in this season, but I didn't have as much of an issue with that. I do want to stress, however, that this is a small aspect of the entire season, and overall, my only real criticism with the story is the force hold idea of this alternate dimension where Solitus is sending different things that he doesn't like from the Star Wars galaxy into it. It ultimately gets solved pretty easily, but at the end of the day, I'm not expecting Andor level writing from Rebuild the Galaxy. I had a lot of fun. It had a lot of heart. It killed it in the jokes department and the references department. And that's really what the show is going for. If I was a kid growing up with this show, I would be obsessed with it, and I would have no doubt that it would be a nostalgic piece of my childhood that I would revisit for years to come. Final piece of my review that I want to mention is that they integrate a lot of the musical motifs for characters throughout this season, like Ahsoka's theme, Duel of the Fates, as I mentioned, the Mando theme. So much respect for the musical aspect of Star Wars is present here as well. And I need to call that out because, again, it is an integral part of the formula. So yeah, I could talk about all the other references and jokes that I absolutely loved. It would take another 20 minutes, so I'm not going to do that. I want you guys to experience it yourselves. Go watch the show, come back, comment your favorite jokes or meta pieces of commentary in the show. I want to talk to you guys about this. I hope there are more seasons of this coming down the pipeline. I know the critical reception for this show is really good. I think fans are loving it. I know I definitely am. So, Rebuild the Galaxy. If you're a huge Star Wars fan, definitely watch it. No reason not to watch it. It's made for you. It's made by people like you. It's short, it's sweet, it's funny, it has heart. No reason not to watch it. And speaking of watching, thank you guys so much for watching or listening to this episode. I appreciate you guys as always. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Follow me on Instagram. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and may the Force be with you. Peace.